Today I will be discussing how standardized admission tests contradict the intended purpose of education to make a prosperous world citizen that will contribute to society. Here are two scenarios used as an example. George is a high school junior who is very intelligent but is diagnosed with a learning disability. He would be the first to attend college, but his self-esteem dropped over time because he could not achieve the stats. Meanwhile, Jeffrey comes from a well-off family and has always excelled on standardized tests. His family was able to support him in a college admissions tutor who helped excel him in getting offers from several prestigious schools. Throughout college, he becomes only immersed in his grades that he could not hold a job for post-grad. When both Jeffrey and George excelled coming from different backgrounds, cultures, and learning styles, standardized testing was the roadblock that set both of them behind short-term and long-term. Academic development measures students' abilities to take a test and improve their numbers rather than become adept citizens post-graduation, a contradiction that separates what higher education aims to achieve and what is occurring. Standardized testing results in a standardized curriculum and ignores the forces of cosmopolitanization that exist worldwide as civics and social studies are not priorities. The narrowing of standardized curriculum disregards multicultural and anti-racist ideals. According to Al, roughly 25 to 30% of public schools in the nation have reduced the time given for arts, foreign languages, social studies. The percentage is higher if the school has a large population of minority students. Standardized testing narrows students' attention, preventing the development of individual ideas such as progressivism and values such as empathy and sympathy that are important in understanding social diversity. How are students supposed to enter the real world when standardized testing limits our abilities at an early age to think outside the box to understand each other's differences? Higher education must recognize that there is no single way to look at the world, even if we talk about numbers. We can no longer hang on to a numerically based belief system when we know that families making over a certain income have advantages to those who are low income, a disparity that also correlates with ethnic groups. We must make changes that permit people from different backgrounds to have an equal chance. At UCLA, average family income of students is $73,000 a year, and incoming first-year students have average GPAs of 4.1. At California State University, where 80% of freshmen come from families making less than that a year, with an average 3.3 GPA. With this trend across the country, one can generalize this pattern with SAT scores in place of GPA. Our goal in higher education, especially at UCLA, is to train students to be world leaders. These citizens speak up for our own and others' rights as individualists within a society. During the COVID pandemic, the UC system announced that it would end the requirement of SAT and ACT in admissions until 2024. This is a monumental step forward with the inclusivity of all people and promoting the basis of virtue through intellectual curiosity. However, other campuses have yet to make this decision on behalf of making students into world citizens. A potential solution that many schools have been adopting is a portfolio evaluation. Students can create a portfolio of test scores and concentration projects that show the student's academic progress through a developmental portfolio. Instead of focusing on the end number, it challenges for a cosmopolitan evaluation that considers differences in cultural or socioeconomic background, designed to showcase the diverse strengths and interests of students. Nussbaum writes that one of the main goals of education is to play a role in political decisions and have a voice for democratic arrangements. A cosmopolitan education fights to learn for rights, because at the core of cosmopolitanism, we have the moral obligation to fight against oppression and for individual rights to make a difference in society. Ultimately, what colleges suggest that we are becoming by graduation. Quaim Appiah relates to this idea by saying that when we are trying to get things done, we need to engage in conversation that acknowledges that our language of values is one of the central ways we coordinate our lives with one another. We need to go beyond our values of toleration and to agree to disagree, but try to discern what obligations we have to strangers given the difference we make about them. When we have these conversations, we appeal to the range of values that education may teach us when numbers are not the thing holding students back. There is no connection between the multiple choice format on college admission tests and fostering skills such as critical decision making. If students are unable to recognize that higher education is much more than a piece of paper and grades, then higher education is devalued and students are no longer becoming world citizens. We must take on the challenge of being cosmopolitans by our discourse, a change that other schools besides UCLA and UC schools have yet to make regarding standardized testing. Thank you for listening, and a big thank you to Professor Kim for such a rewarding class.